Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the workshop. What you guys are about to see, some footage from quite a while ago, and it's quite a bit of failure and quite a bit of learning, but we ended up with a very nice final product, so stay tuned until the end to see what actually happens and where this project actually went, which is not where we thought it was going to go. So, as I was grinding on the dagger blade of this hook sword, I noticed that the blade was pretty severely bent, and so I figured, like most knives, you can throw it in the vise, bend it a little bit, get back to grinding. It's a pretty common thing that I do on knives if they're slightly warped and they're not heat treated yet. Unfortunately, this L6 decided that it was not going to have any of it and that it would go ahead and break in half. So, I'm gonna fire the forge back up, forge out another blade. So, that was fast. Let's go ahead and take these out and have a look. Okay, they're definitely scaled up a little bit, but not too bad. Uh-oh. Ah, heck. This thing bananaed this way. This one is quite bananaed. This one looks like a piece of crispy bacon and also a banana. So, I'm going to finish this one out. I do not want to forge out another hook sword, and we don't have the steel for it. So that's too bad, but that one's essentially unfixable. It's got an edge that goes like this, and it's warped this way, and all that stuff, and it's a little bit too thin to fix with the forge. So we're going to stick to the original plan, which was to make one hook sword. Sometimes, historically, they did come in just one. It's kind of okay. It is a compromise, it's not ideal, but it means we'll be able to make one really cool piece rather than two mediocre pieces. Well, there comes a time in every bladesmith's career when they really just hex something up at the grinder. And I've done that many times, and today is one of those times as well. This project has really been fighting me, and I was coming in here and trying to grind out this area, and the backside of the belt just really bit in and just kind of ruined this area here. Now this whole project has been fighting me. I've forged out 3 of these swords, and then I was just gonna finish one of them, and now I'm gonna completely change the direction because I honestly just messed up. And usually when we mess up, we're like, you know what? We're gonna forge another one, we're gonna make it happen again, but I really think this is just kind of outside the scope of what I know how to do well. So I'm going to cut off the hook part of the hook sword and make this into a traditional style Jian. I don't know how to say it, but it's a very traditional Chinese sword. The hook sword was also a traditional Chinese sword. This particular style has been used for the last 2,500 years, however, and I think we can make this blade work without having to completely restart over. Definitely a big disappointment. I'm pretty frustrated with myself for not being able to grind this properly, but I think this is the only way that we're gonna be able to make this project still look good without completely restarting to do something that I may or may not be able to pull off. So with that, I'm gonna go ahead and start redesigning the blade and the handle. It's gonna be a lot different than it is now. The blade itself will be basically the same, but the handle and the construction will be completely different. So let's go ahead and see if we can make this thing work. It's time to cut the tip off! Okay, the Jian blade is looking really nice actually. However, it is not quite the straightest thing in the world. So we're gonna go ahead and lock it up in the vise, use a little bit of heat and a little bit of wet rag to keep the edge from burning up. And we're gonna try to straighten this thing out. Oh, machinists are gonna turn over in their graves if they see this. So that didn't end up working out very well. I'm gonna go ahead and try to grind it straight. Sometimes the heat of a belt and a flat platen can move a blade around, and this thing's flexible enough that I think it might work. If that doesn't work, I've got another trick we might be able to try, but we'll start off with that. Okay, we got the pieces shaped up. They're really square now. We got the tang relatively shaped, and now we need to mill out these. But Matt is using the mill right now, so we're gonna go ahead and get
next. Backseat. Shotgun.
Shotgun only applies to cars. Dibs. Dibs on the mill. So what I've got going on here, as you can tell, this slot doesn't quite look exactly like the blade. And the reason for that is that it's not supposed to look exactly like the blade. I'm cutting in a relief right now, which just means that I have a smaller contact area to fit up when I do the exact fitment of the blade to the guard. So, if you're wondering why I'm no longer filing, but I have a torch, it's because we're going to try torching this thing on. That means I'm going to heat this up to red hot. I've got the blade locked in the vise over there. We're going to heat this up, pound it on, get a perfect fit. I've never tried this technique before. I know it's pretty popular. I figure I'll give it a shot on this because it's kind of a weird shape that needs to be fit up, and it's really, really hard to file. So we're going to give this a shot, see how it works out. Awesome, and it tempered the tang for us. It's a perfect solution. Sounds like a real sword now. We've got the guard fairly well fit up. We're gonna have to work it down, get that fit up, refined a little bit more. The blade is looking fantastic. We're gonna go ahead and cut ourselves a big hole. I'm gonna use a probably 5/16 drill bit. I'm gonna drill all the way through, and then I'm gonna use a Black Dragon Forge handle broach to broach out and fit this handle up onto the block like that. So as you guys have seen, I got the handle block all fit up, and we're now working on the pommel. And I'm gonna do that mostly underneath the microscope here, just kind of slowly fitting up the pieces, getting them fit together real nice before we move on to shaping all of the pieces on the bell grinder. Well, the pieces of the handle are looking really, really nice so far. The guard and the pommel are both looking really good. They've both been Scotch-Brited out, and they're ready for their final finishing once we get to that step. The handle is also looking really nice. It's super comfortable, and as you guys saw, I just sanded on it, but I was only sanding on it really at the front and at the back, and the reason for that is that I'm going to do a little bit of texture work on the handle. I'm going to do some fullers and lines on either end, and then stipple the whole center of it to give it a really good grip. It should look really nice, should be a cool texture. So what I'm going to go ahead and do now is attack this thing with some files, get my lines carved in there, and then we're going to head upstairs in the jewelry studio and stipple in the whole center part of this grip. Wow, what an absolute blast. This sword came out so freaking nice. The texture that's on the pommel and on the guard looks really nice. It's that orange peel kind of look, which is done with the wire brush. The texture on the handle, that stippling, is super grippy, but it's not too aggressive to where it hurts your hand. It's right in the sweet spot. And the transitions on the handle I think also look really nice. This blade was originally forged for the hook sword before I completely, royally messed it up, but I think it redeemed itself pretty dang well. I finished this sword yesterday, which was on my 21st birthday, and the thing that I realized is that this is actually the first sword that I ever finished completely by myself. I've done a ton of knives, but every sword that I've ever worked on, Alec has worked on with me. And so this is kind of a special sword for that reason. And this thing is going to be up for sale on the alecsteelshop.com, so make sure to go check that out. And before we end it, let's thank today's sponsor. And today's sponsor is the Alec Steel Co. We currently have anvil pre-orders open just until Friday. You can go ahead and get one of these stands along with it. These are made locally here in Bozeman, Montana. And if you do a pre-order for the anvil, not only do you get free shipping on the anvil, but you get free shipping on the stand, which is quite the deal. We also have these new dental hygiene products.
Wait, Will, sorry. I don't know if I told you. They're not dental hygiene.
That's a brush though.
It's for steel.
So these are cool.
Those are exciting new products.
Awesome. If you don't have one of these and you're a blacksmith, you are severely missing out.
There's no better way to brush steel than with a butcher's block brush.
Absolutely. The other thing that we've got available right now are these drifts, and these guys are currently restocking the drifts. Matt and Sam are working on that right now.
Check it all out at alecsteelshop.com.
Wait, hold on. I thought it was alecsteelco.com.
It is also alecsteelco.com.
It's really confusing. I don't understand it.
Yes, whoever runs the place should be smarter.
Should really brush that out.
If you catch his drift. I can't stand these